Prepare yourself for Earthling Entertainment, the perfect blend of paranormal and pop culture, with your host, Joe Wakefield and Ryan Lang.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Earthling Entertainment with Joe Wakefield and Ryan Lang.
Hello, I'm your host who's been submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society, Joe Wakefield.
And I call this host Ryan Lang.
Hello again. So, returning listeners, thank you for joining us. Please hit that download button. Downloading the episode is the best way to support the show.
And how?
And for those of you joining us for the first time, you might be asking, what is this show?
What is it?
What do you guys do? What are you all about? Well, you know what? We're going to tell you. What we do here is a little bit of the creepy, a little bit of the spooky. Sometimes it's cryptozoology. Other times it's a haunting or a myth or a legend. And it's always spooky. That is why it's in our first section called Spooky Stuff.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That's followed by a segment that we call Disclosure Discussion, which is all about aliens.
I'm just asking questions, UFO stories, videos, anything that's new, sometimes old stuff that we like to dig up. That's what we talk about.
Yeah, pretty much aliens. Anything that's extraterrestrial. If it's not of this earth, it's in that section.
That's right.
Then the second half of the show, the latter half, if you will, is all dedicated to pop culture and entertainment. Sometimes we have celebrity guests or we have audio dramas. We do quiz games. We have news. We talk about celebrity deaths, music, movies, video games. It's all pop culture all the time. And those two things, the beginning, which is the spooky, the second part, which is the all entertainment, form a delicious cookie of a podcast known as Earthling Entertainment.
Delicious.
Yeah, you know, we've said a lot of things. We said delicious Oreo of a podcast, moon pie of a podcast. Today I just went with generic cookie because, next maybe sandwich cracker. Be like,
maybe. Yeah.
We got the cheese and then we got the cracker. Do you prefer peanut butter or cheese when it comes to those little cracker sandwiches?
I'd have to go with, believe it or not, with cheese because the peanut butter is not that great. I love peanut butter, but I like good peanut butter.
Well, the peanut butter is always dry, right?
Right.
Yeah, but the cheese spread, there's something about it that it bothers me because it feels artificial. I don't know if it's made with real cheese. Well, I don't know. It reminds me of the whole the guy Frito, the guy who made Fritos back in the day. He made these corn puffs that basically not like corn flakes, but like they were puffs of corn. They were basically Cheetos before they were Cheetos, and no one really liked them because they didn't really have a taste. They fed them to animals and whatever. So the after World War II, the government's like, hey, we have like a bunch, like warehouses of this dehydrated cheese that we're practically giving away. And he's like, all right, I'll take it. Threw that on those corn puffs, and suddenly we got Cheetos, man.
That's a pretty cool story.
Yeah.
I like how that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I don't know where I was going with that. I guess I prefer the peanut butter ones.
No, yeah. That's a good point.
That is a good point. You know what? They don't sell those in movie theaters. That's weird, right? Like those little sandwich cookies.
Like, yeah, because they make the minis. They make like the bag of minis too. Like, so you can like pop like little mini Ritz crackers with like the cheese in it.
Maybe I'm just going to the wrong theater, man.
Like,
people. Yeah, people want these fine cuisine places now where you get steak and beer brought to your thing. No, I want little cheesy crackers, Ryan.
Going to the movie theaters was like a funny event when I was a kid. We would only go to the Dollar Theater, which like why not? Because there was a Dollar Theater nearby in Allen Park, and
yeah, and that thing. I mean, I think they raised it to $2 or something, maybe $3 before it closed. But it was around up until like 2010.
That's where we went.
Yeah,
because I mean, think about it. You could take the whole family for $5. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and we
went to the Ford Tell.
Nice.
Same thing.
That's that's a good one. And my dad still refused to pay any kind of price at the concessions. So no matter what, we always would make a stop like at a gas station, and we got to go around and pick out what snack or drink we wanted, and Mom would just put it in her purse.
That's hilarious.
And we would smuggle in snacks in the Dollar Theater.
That's what I'm saying. You're already only paying $1 per ticket,
right?
And you're just like, I'm gonna give him a whole nother $1 for some M&Ms.
Oh my gosh, that's literally just how it was, and it's funny. I still kind of carry that with
Thrifty
me.
man,
I
thrifty
don't.
man.
When I go to I don't even like buying a drink or anything. Like my girlfriend, she loves her popcorn, so we'll get popcorn. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, concessions. That's just how I was raised. We just never did it.
See, as an adult, I mean, when I was a kid, I didn't have my own money, so whatever my parents said I could do is what I got to do. But as an adult, I love movies. I love going to the movies, especially when I was living in LA, because there's so many different movie theaters. I went to ArcLight all the time because I lived right down the street from Cineramic Dome, which was in Hollywood, and it was kind of like an IMAX, but it curved around. Like
Yeah.
yeah, it kinda like, was an open book that you're looking at almost, where it kind of, like, curved around your head. I saw Godzilla there with, the director, yeah, in one of the screenings. Anyways, the point is I made it more of an event, and especially since LA has these theaters that are more of an experience. They did have full dining.
Yeah.
There were places you can go with moving chairs and wind blowing in your face, or just sit down in a comfy chair with like a full on menu or a full bar with actual waiters. They were all those experiences. So because I got like really kind of used to that, I go now and I'll pay for any luxury I can get just to kind of replicate how cool that was.
No, that
So
is
I'll buy a
cool.
drink and I will
Well,
get the VIP seats that box me in.
yeah, I guess. Yeah, I'll confess. I'll get like a beer. I might get a beer, like if I go see a movie, but that's usually it for me. I don't know. But I get it. I mean, once you're used to, I mean, you went to the best theaters in the country. Like,
I don't know about that, but it sure seemed like it. You know what I
right.
mean? I never did a survey, but there are amazing theaters in LA.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it would make sense.
Even the crappy theaters are amazing. I'm just saying because they're always owned by some celebrity or actor would buy. Quentin Tarantino, for instance, bought his own theater,
Cool.
and he plays his movies there. But I'm saying, you know what else is Hollywood Cemetery? I got to see a bunch of movies at the Hollywood Cemetery.
Really
Yeah, they just play movies. I saw Poltergeist in the Hollywood Cemetery. That was fun.
appropriate.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Some things are spooky, Ryan.
Some
I mean,
things.
you wouldn't watch a movie in a cemetery?
No, and what's fun, so we got an interesting spooky stuff this week. I have actually been to this place before. I'm excited.
Oh, and I assume they got a lot of cemeteries and things.
They definitely do.
All right. Well, you know what? If it sounds like you're teeing up spooky stuff, we could just jump in if you're ready.
I'm down if you are.
Okay, let's do this.
Spooky stuff. On this week's Spooky Stuff, we're going to do something we've never done before by focusing on a location rather than an individual haunting or cryptid. Honestly, we couldn't be more excited to share what we found with you, so strap in and enjoy the first ever edition of Spooky Locales and Stuff. Spooky St. Augustine. St. Augustine, Florida is the oldest city in the United States and was founded by Don Pedro de Aviles of Spain in 1585. It's a long time ago.
Yeah, it is. Well, for the United States, it's
Yeah,
a long
yeah,
time
yeah.
ago. Yeah, yeah.
Each year, visitors come to explore the more than 4 centuries of history, exquisite architecture, beautiful natural scenery, and pristine Atlantic coast beaches. And among those visitors are those with an affinity for apparitions and the paranormal, because inside the walls of the historic buildings, along the cobblestone streets, and lingering among the people, there are many spirits of those who lived and died there, those who've chosen never to leave.
I mean, you like a location, you're not moving on to the next plane of existence. Why move?
I'm staying
It's a good neighborhood.
over my dead body. It's like you are dead.
Oh, ew.
Oh, well,
That would explain it.
on you go then. one, one example.
That's stupid.
One example is St. Augustine's Old Jail. It is one of the most haunted locations in the city. Listed on the Florida and National Register of Haunted Places, tourists and locals alike visit the old jail to experience the supernatural stories firsthand. Henry Flagger, a key figure in St. Augustine's development, built the structure in 1891, and conditions for prisoners were notoriously inhumane. Some of the most dangerous criminals were housed in the jail's maximum security area. Recognized as one of the most haunted buildings in the country, the old jail is shrouded in mystery and lore. The historic building housed prisoners from 1891 to 1953, when it was closed due to deplorable conditions and the inflicted cruelty on its residents.
Yeah, and if you know if it's bad by 50s standards, that's
That's
probably pretty bad.
that's god awful.
I'm just saying.
Additionally, 8 documented hangings were carried out on this site, and many other deaths that can only be described as unnatural.
Okay, well, hanging seems. I mean, I guess it's unnatural, but it's a jail, so hangings kind of makes sense. There's only 8. That doesn't seem like that many, considering it was a jail. Now,
So,
what are these unnatural deaths? That's what I want to know.
yeah, me too. Perhaps these are why many believe the old jail is an epicenter for paranormal activity and why it has become a popular destination for ghost hunters everywhere. And on the ghost tour that I was on in St. Augustine, we got to go to this
Wait, hold
jail.
on. You went there? Oh yeah, we
Yes.
talked about this last week. Duh, that's why we're doing this. Continue.
I got to do a haunted. It was like called a haunted trolley, and it had like the neon under lights and stuff. It was cool looking. It was spooky. Our host, he straight up looked like Ichabod Crane,
Okay,
like
that'd
straight
be
up.
fun.
And but no, we went to the jail. I got to walk through it, and it was creepy. We even got to see the gallows where
Ah.
they used to hang the people, and it was it's pretty spooky. It was pretty dang spooky. I'm not gonna lie.
The only jail I saw that was an old jail was Alcatraz, which I don't know if Alcatraz is haunted, but that was a weird one too. But I mean, Alcatraz closed in the 1950s. I guess this
hmm
one did too. But still, it's a much older jail, the one you went to. So I imagine there's an extra level
It
of spooky to it.
it was creepy. It was at night. I was young, so yeah, scared the shit out of me. Castillo de San Marcos is the largest masonry structure of its kind in the USA. The magnificent 17th century fort stands as it has for many centuries, guarding the coast against invasion and surviving more than 300 years of battles and storms. It's here that many supernatural enthusiasts flock to investigate the accounts of inexplicable events. Within one of the watchtowers, there have been reports of a light shining from the fixture that has no electricity running to it. Other spooky occurrences include the sighting of a Spanish soldier standing at the edge of the fort, looking out to the sea just when the sun is about to rise or set.
Yeah, I like that one. The light doesn't really freak me out that much because I don't know. There's wireless power. Maybe I don't know. It's not that weird. But the ghost, I'll give you the ghost.
I'll give you the ghost.
I'll give you the ghost.
So there is also a dungeon. In the dungeon, many people say they felt as if someone with cold hands was touching them. Others felt queasy and cold while walking through. It's also not uncommon for visitors that have shot videos and taken pictures while taking a tour to report the appearance of misty shapes, glowing orbs, and even the sea through the shape of a person.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Yeah, they say some ghosts might not be like the spirits of humans, but like an echo of the raw emotion that was left in that place. So if it was a murder or it was something horrible, then you feel those feelings and you may even see like a replay almost of it in weird spiritual sense. But like it's not the soul. So if that was the case of this, it makes sense that a dungeon would be full of those bad emotions.
You'd have to imagine, yeah, like if these walls could talk kind of thing, like kind of creepy.
Mm.
So then, of course, there's the Spanish military hospital. This one was the worst. When you
Yeah.
when you enter this historic building, don't be alarmed by the unnerving sensation you feel, as if a sad, heavy presence is surrounding you. This feeling has been experienced by many who enter the hospital, which was rebuilt in 1821 when the city had to replace the water lines that ran under the building. When construction began, workers discovered thousands of human bones buried underneath the hospital.
Yeah. That's creepy.
After some investigating, they learned that the hospital sat on a Tumacuan burial ground, the Indians that were native to St. Augustine in the earliest years. Whether the presence people felt was that of the spirits of those lost souls is unknown, but hauntings in the building still occur to this day. And another one that was a part of the tour that was a part of that is they said a lot of it wasn't just that it was some Indian burial ground, there was that as well, but literally just from the hospital, if you got, they amputated all the time. That was just their solution. You got shot in the arm, you're losing that arm.
Yeah.
So they would
just
just
kept
go out
throwing
back
them in a
and
pit.
yeah, they would just bury it out back.
Huh. But well, you know, the Indian burial ground. Sorry, the Indian burial ground aspect of it is kind of like, oh yeah, that makes sense. It's not like an Indian burial ground has ever been the cause of trouble before. I mean, Poltergeist. Just saying that second movie was an Indian burial.
I mean, and of course, I have to make the South Park
I know. I was
reference.
waiting for this. The Spooky Pets episode from
Yes.
season 2.
Yes, with Christina Aguilera monsters. I think no, it was Barbara Streisand was in the corner for Spooky Vision.
It was. So
That's right.
In this one, there is a pet store owner in this episode of South Park who basically opened his pet store on an Indian burial ground. And when asked, well, didn't you remove the bodies? He replied,
Oh, heck no. Actually, what I did was I dug them up, peed on them, flipped them over, and then buried them again.
why?
I don't know. I was drunk.
Oh, so
He's
classic,
then he
classic
opens up,
South Park
then
reference.
he opens up the closet and it's just this giant portal. He's like, oh, I've been wondering what the hell this was.
Yes, it was a portal to a hell dimension with evil versions of pets.
Excellent.
God bless South Park.
God
But
bless South Park.
back to St. Augustine.
Moans, screams, and cries, misty sightings of patients in hospital gowns, and the outline of a body laying on the beds when no one was there are just a few of the accounts. Then here's another one. This was another big one. The St. Augustine Lighthouse was built in the 1600s by Spanish settlers and served the city for many years until tidal erosion and damage from harsh weather conditions made it necessary for a new one to be constructed. Its replacement, built in 1874, is a St. Augustine historic landmark visited by thousands of people each year. It's also well known for its ghostly inhabitants and has been featured on TV's popular Ghost Hunters show. During its long history, several tragic events have occurred that many feel attribute to the unusually high level of paranormal energy and ghost sightings within the lighthouse and on its grounds. One of the first was when the lighthouse keeper, Mr. Andrew, fell to his death while painting the tower. During one
Sorry, you were going too smooth. I had to break it.
During one of the visits from the Ghost Hunters show, they captured an apparition on film that many believe to be the old keeper's ghost, still watching over the lighthouse.
Yeah, once again, he didn't move on. It's a nice neighborhood. Why wouldn't you stay?
It's my job.
It's what I'm doing. No one else is going to look after this lighthouse. Automated my ass.
Another horrific event was the death of two young girls who drowned when the handcart they were playing in broke and fell into the ocean. Many have seen at least one of the girls roaming about, and others have heard the voices of children playing outside and inside the building. No matter what anyone believes, the fact that there is something mysterious and unusual about this famous St. Augustine icon is never disputed. The oldest city in America is home to so many incredible historic places and attractions. It's no wonder that after 400 years and counting, this beautiful coastal area is also considered to be one of the most haunted cities in the country.
Yeah, so if you happen to be in Florida and you have a keen eye for paranormal stuff, check out St. Augustine.
Yeah, it was great. The Ripley's Museum is nearby. Just a lot of creepy stuff. They said that place was haunted as hell. They had a bunch of haunted items and such. It was a great ride, honestly. And there was an alligator farm there too. Side note, which was cool.
Well, it's Florida. Of course, there's
So-
an alligator farm, Ryan.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to just make fun of Florida, but I feel like they probably have an abundance of
It's-
alligator farms.
It's like, oh, so what are you doing with yourself now? It's like, oh, I got this. I'm running this alligator farm. Why? I'm in Florida.
Yeah, it's
We've
like-
got alligators.
It's swampy. I don't know what to tell you. You either try to save the Everglades or you're trying to be the new freaking crocodile hunter.
I
This is
choose to
life.
be the new friggin' crocodile hunter.
Exactly. And
That's
there's
right.
and I can't imagine there's a lot of stingrays in the swamp, so you'll probably be fine.
Probably. Other things could
So-
happen.
That was too much,
No,
right?
well, it's like, oh, oof. It's like, okay, it's not too soon. It's been a long time, but dang. And it's just weird that, yeah, his son is just turned like 21. And like, I don't know why. I thought he was older. I don't know. To me, I
He
don't
was
know.
a baby when he died.
That's true.
I really did love. I mean, I know that made that bad joke, but I really did love Steve Irwin.
Oh my God.
I
yeah.
love the Irwins in general, they had a show called Crockett. It's the Irwins, all about the Australian Zoo.
That's right.
And Robert Irwin, his son, who you were just talking about, he actually voiced an episode of Bluey.
Nice.
So I'm watching Bluey with my kid, and I'm just like, hey, it's the Irwin boy.
That's
It's
awesome.
the Irwin boy. And then I think Bindi, damn,
Yeah.
I know she wrote a book. I know she got married. I know she had a kid. I don't know how much zoo stuff she's doing, but I
She
assume
had her own
since,
show.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, yay for the Irwins, and go to St. Augustine, Florida.
Well, you can't, like you said, you can't talk about Florida without talking about gators, and you can't talk about gators without talking about the crocodile hunter.
Do you remember when we were younger, there was this place called the Gibraltar Trade Center?
Yes, sir, I do.
And it was a flea market indoors. And for whatever reason, they had these random booths that were it seemed like they bought a box of toys that didn't sell well, and they were just selling really random stuff. Or maybe it was toys from a different country. But I got a Steve Irwin doll. Do you remember that?
I don't remember I want to say I remember that they made them, but I don't remember you having it.
Oh no, I had it, and he wasn't very articulate, right? Like he bended at the elbows, and the wrists twisted, but the knees didn't bend, and it was not a very articulate doll. But it had his voice, and it would play like Crockett, what a ripper!
Yeah,
and
what a ripper!
Woo! You do remember it?
Yeah, oh yeah,
yeah. So, anyways, that toy was awesome.
That's right.
I want to know.
I'm shaking like a leaf.
I want to know if that thing still exists. I have to track it down. I did the first season of Fuzz and Malloy which we did in 2013, which essentially was just us goofing off with the camera and then editing it later. But if you look that first episode, there is the Steve Irwin doll on the table next to us the whole episode.
Crikey. That's excellent. But yes, St. Augustine, Florida. Take a ghost tour. I mean, I was young, but I was impressed. I thought it was cool. So
I just have never been, so that's why I keep trailing off into other things. But
it's far away.
I love ghost stories.
It's like way at the bottom.
Yeah, fair enough. I know Philadelphia was really cool. The Hollywood ghost tour was okay, so ghost tours are always fun.
I'm a fan. When I was in Boy Scouts, there was this one dude who was one of the counselors in the camp, and he literally did seances and stuff where like they would like it was like for real, like a bunch of kids around while he's like acting like he's getting possessed and stuff, and then he even like made a haunted trail. It was arguably quite inappropriate.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He was a Boy Scout counselor. Like everyone's so worried about the Boy Scout troopers like trying to get molested that they didn't follow this guy who's just like, no, I'm not gonna do that. But hey, let's talk to Satan, kids.
I'm not kidding. He didn't channel Satan, but he channeled a ghost. Like I remember him doing it.
It's just funny. It's just
weird.
Further proof of people just being worried about the wrong thing.
We all met in the boathouse.
Once again, dude, that's funny as hell. You and a bunch of kids are in the boathouse, right? And he's doing this weird little seance thing, and it's like all supernatural. It's all crazy. The cops bust in, and they do completely ignore ghosts and everything. Did he touch you?
Like,
Did he touch you?
Like we're just, and then of course the kids would oversell it. Like the ghost touched me. You calling yourself the ghost? Get over here, you sicko! like
just completely missing the point, like straight up Ghostbuster situation, and they're just like, God damn molesters!
I don't know what he's got. It looks like a weapon. Dude, just oh my god, yeah, it would not go well.
Oof.
Let's just, you know what I mean? It's hard to be a ghost hunter. It's hard.
Just don't do it as you're being a scout leader at the same time.
Yeah, maybe choose your audience, St. Augustine.
Let's talk about aliens.
Let's do it.
Disclosure discussion. Ha 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 ha. It's about aliens and stuff.
For today's disclosure discussion, let's visit some lesser-known UFO sightings.
Let's.
South Long Lake, 1932 UFO sighting. The National UFO Reporting Center keeps track of UFO sightings online. Obviously, the internet wasn't around in the early 20th century, so many of the reports were filed years later. One in particular is about a woman who shares the story of what her mother saw near Brainerd, Minnesota. The story goes...
Don't you know?
Don't you know? The story goes that the woman's parents were at their cabin on South Long Lake near Brainerd, Minnesota in the fall of 1932. It was a nice day, and they were outside enjoying the weather Suddenly, they saw a light flash across the sky. It paused and hovered over the lake for 5 minutes before taking off, and it was completely silent.
Well, yeah, that sounds like a UFO for sure.
100%, like the stuff we're still seeing today. Like, exactly.
Yeah.
In 1932, there wasn't much air traffic. Not to mention, they didn't have any planes that could hover or accelerate that fast. Helicopters weren't around until later that decade. The first practical one was invented in 1939. It couldn't have been a drone, a satellite, or anything else commonly mistaken as a UFO because none of them existed.
Have we ruled out magic?
Not-
Because it could be a wisp.
It couldn't be a meteorite or a fireball because those don't stop moving. I like the matter of factness of this. Shooting stars don't stop and hover, and this light was reported to hover directly above the lake. Whatever it was something supernatural to be moving like that in the sky in 1932. There's simply no other explanation, Joe.
The fact that there's no explanation makes it a UFO because it was unidentified.
And
And
I
it was
mean-
clearly there. I mean, it's weird though because it says that this is a report that was made way, way after the fact, years later, So it happened in 1932, but they didn't report it until there was someone to report it to. And she's saying it's based on a story that her mother told her, right? So she
Right.
didn't even witness it.
Well, I mean, in 1932, I mean, isn't that like the time when like a camera was like, all right, I got to change the bulb again? Like,
No, that's the 1800s.
okay.
They're not like super easy still, but yeah.
I'm just saying. So it's not like she could have busted out a camera or anything like that at the time. So I mean, word of mouth is the best we got from this, and this is 1932.
The camera
so
wouldn't have done her any good anyways. It would have been a still photograph. So it would just be like, it wasn't moving. And be like, well, how do we know? You just took a picture of it.
that's true. All right. So I mean, that was a weird one. Tell us what you guys think. You can go ahead and email us at earthlingentertainmentpodcast@gmail.com or hit us up on Facebook if you have something to say about these. So here's the next one. The Kecksburg UFO incident. On December 9th, 1965, in Kecksburg, Pennsylvania, a large object streaked across the sky, seen by thousands in nearby counties and states. The object, described as a clay acorn the size of a Volkswagen with Egyptian hieroglyphs running around the base, crashed shortly outside of Kecksburg, only to be immediately secured by soldiers. The military claimed that nothing had crashed or been removed, and that all reports to the contrary were false.
Yeah. Well, that seems like something they would say, doesn't it?
It definitely does,
Yeah.
Joe. Many associate the event with the Roswell UFO crash, going as far to dub it Pennsylvania's Roswell.
Fair enough. I think if you're Pennsylvania's Roswell, you should just come up with a different name because by comparing yourself to Roswell, you're always just like, and we're the other guy.
I mean, it makes sense. I thought about that too, but it makes sense because we associate Roswell with a UFO crash. So this is saying
But
that
why is it this gold standard where everything is, this is the Roswell of New Guinea. This is the Roswell of the Amazon.
it's the same reason why we always say that the Bermuda Triangle of this, the Bermuda Triangle of that.
I guess, yeah. If you're the first, everything else is just, a version of you. When it comes to this one, it talks about an acorn-shaped UFO. And every time I hear about an acorn or a bell shape, I'm always reminded of the World War II Nazi the Glocker. I never say it right.
Yeah.
The bell, their experiment with time travel. And I always think that apparently disappeared, right? So anytime there's a UFO crash of something that's shaped, I always think in my head like, well, that's it. That's where it went. It came back. It like traveled through time.
It's just a bunch of Nazis just crashing into the earth in a giant bell.
I mean, there's plenty of movies where Nazis survived World War II or like for something, right? So could you imagine a movie where you're sitting there and it's a neighborhood? We'll make it like an 80s kind of fun thing, like Goonies, and then the bell crashes. We're like, aliens that come out, the group of kids, and that comes out, there's like a bunch of Nazis.
And then you just need to do it like 80s trope, just have one of them turn around. It's worse. It's Nazis, and they're
Yeah.
like make it comedic, like Goonies style, like
Oh,
like.
Wah, 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 wah.
So that is the Kecksburg UFO incident.
Which I'm saying is a candidate for that Bell experiment.
I think you might be onto something with that, Joe. That's a good theory. So let's go on to our third story here. Thomas Mantle. Kentucky Air National Guard pilot Captain Thomas Mantle was sent to investigate a UFO sighted near Fort Knox on January 7th, 1948. Mantle's pursuit ended in flames. The pilot pursued the object at too high an altitude, blacked out from lack of oxygen, and spiraled out of control. The government later revealed that the UFO was, in fact, another classified weather balloon from Project Skyhook. Huh. We just sent him out there on accident. Oops, that was my bad. Sorry.
Damn, we forgot about the balloon.
Well, this explanation, however, did little to calm public nerves, and previous awe of the potential for extraterrestrial life began shifting to fear of an otherworldly hostile takeover.
Yeah, well, it's just you think about when people from Europe came over to the United States. It didn't work out well for the Indians. If there are aliens that show up here, we are going to be kind of screwed because if they can make it to us before we can make it to them, chances are they're not here just to say, "Hey, how's it going? Diplomatic relations. Let's chat."
Just came for a glass of water.
I love the Star Trek idea of the future where we're all going to come together and like create a utopia, and eventually there's no money because no one needs to work. They work because they want to work, and everyone has food, and everyone's all equal, and all that's great. And we have friends of aliens, and we're all a big utopia. And occasionally there's problems, but that's just lesser species. But chances are they're going to come be lizard people and try to eat us.
Yeah,
we're just going to get eaten, Ryan.
Let's just face it, the ball is in their court when they show up. That's for sure. They've already showed up. Let's face it. We know they have.
Well, yeah, we don't have a lot to stand on to be like, hey, be more civilized like us. Meanwhile, bombs and deaths are going on in the background. Like, no, terrible, life's tragic.
They're like, oh, look at these humans. They've decided they figured out how to form rock and stuff. Oh, they're using it as a weapon. Yeah. Oh, look, now they've made steel. Wow, that's going to be really helpful. And they're using it as a weapon.
Yeah, right.
Oh, dude, they everything. Yeah, we're horrible.
So
do better, humanity.
Well, even if what if aliens have shown up and the reason why they're not showing themselves, there's not like some grand scheme, there's not some evil thing going on. What if it's because they are just like a chill vegetarian race and they're just like, we get broadcast all that pop culture, guys, and it looks like this is just going to end in our death? Or yeah, we're gonna come grab some water, do our little tests, and get the hell out of here because we figure the second we're real, we're gonna be eaten or destroyed or blown up or used as slaves or something terrible.
A person is smart, but people are dumb, panicky, dangerous creatures, and you know it.
But forget all that gloomy stuff. Let's talk about just some fun, weird things. The best things in life are weird, Ryan. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, Joe.
All right. Well, guys, we brought something for you today on this week's
Real World Weird.
Legendary Argentine lake monster Nahuelito to be celebrated with sizable statue.
Finally.
This comes to us from coasttocoastam.com. A sizable statue of a legendary Argentine lake monster known as Nahuelito will soon loom over where the mysterious creature is said to reside. The fantastic cryptid, said to be a plesiosaur-like animal akin to the iconic depiction of Loch Ness Monster, has been a part of the country's contemporary folklore for over a century after a pair of strange sightings made headlines in the 1920s.
So it's been a while.
To this day, multiple visitors to Nahuel Huapi Lake have reported seeing, and in some cases, filming, odd aquatic anomalies thought to be the now beloved monster. Similar to its aquatic, sorry, that was a tongue twister. Similar to its aquatic cryptid kin Nessie.
Similar to its aquatic cryptid kid.
Nessie.
Aquatic cryptid kid.
Kid.
Yeah, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Try to do that 3 times. No, really. Aquatic cryptid kid. I can't.
It's impossible. And then Ogopogo in
Canada.
Canada.
Chappie, right?
Yep, Lake Champlain monster, which is Chappie or Champ or whatever. The creature has been embraced by the community around its home with a walking tour devoted to the legend and soon a sizable statue. The iron piece is reportedly the brainchild of filmmaker Walter Jung, who was inspired to commission the creation while working on a documentary about his family's rich history of blacksmithing in the Argentine city of Bariloche, which borders Nahuel Huapi Lake.
It's actually really smart, right? Like you're a blacksmith, and to show off your blacksmith skills, you pick the local cryptid, and you're like, I'm going to make a giant statue. Because now we're talking about it.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have heard about it otherwise.
Never would have.
You know what else thought crossed my mind is this is an Argentina lake that I've never personally heard of this cryptid, but it just like it mentioned, there's Chappie, there's Loch Ness Monster, just all those other ones. So this is less isolated than we think when we're talking about the Loch Ness Monster.
That's right.
There's only one, so they can't be real. Maybe not. Maybe they are all over. Maybe this is a common lake monster that actually does exist. Ogopogo, when I covered that one, I loved the tales where they had to like basically bring offerings to the lake, or they'd have to go around because they tried crossing the lake, wasn't going to happen, not without permission.
Right. Like, and it makes you wonder, like, it's almost like there can be only one in the lake. Like, is there you only see like the one, right? So, but what if it's like a family and they're just kind of like, that's just like one parent goes off to forage and they come back.
Oh,
I don't know.
Well, it could be an apex predator situation where there
Yeah.
is only one, right? But
That's true.
You know, I think that's more likely because we don't see, while we do have mentions of them, we don't see a lot of them, right?
So maybe they just like produce asexually. They just like maybe lay an egg and it's just ready to go.
Well, if it's a plesiosaur, definitely not.
Yeah.
But if it's, I mean, it's possible. There are definitely creatures that reproduce asexually. When you said that, the first thing that popped in my head was the 1998 Godzilla movie, though.
Yeah.
It was like,
Yeah.
I was like a giant lizard who is reproducing asexually. Godzilla coming out everywhere. That's
true.
it. We figured it
Yeah.
out, Ryan.
Oh my God. That would be awful, right? That'd be the worst. So the monstrous sculpture depicting Nahuelito, seen in conceptual drawing on the web. If you want to see it, go to coasttocoastam.com. Will measure a whopping 20 feet long and stand a towering 13 feet tall.
Good.
Though
Good.
Though Jung had intended for the piece to be completed by May 3rd to be presented as a gift to the community on its birthday, he indicated that the project is more likely to be finished sometime shortly thereafter.
Look, guys, I overestimated my speed on this one. I don't know what to tell you.
Bit off a little more than I could chew, guys.
That's like when I wrote down the number, I was actually really drunk. It was supposed to be inches. This was going to be just a paperweight for the Argentinian government. Drop the ball here. I deliver.
It's like, what did you think IN stood for? It's like, I have no idea. Not everybody knows everything.
I am a great blacksmith, but you know what? I am not good at filling out paperwork.
Appreciative officials in Bariloche have yet to decide where the sculpture will be located. That said, the filmmaker hopes the piece will be placed near a popular tourist spot on the shore of Nahuel Huapi Lake, where the city's name is spelled out in giant letters.
Yeah. You know what it reminds me of is when France was going to give us the United States the Statue of Liberty. They were like, hey, look at this giant cool statue. It's great. I'm giving it to you. All you guys need to do is build like a base for me to put it on. And the United States like, hold on. We're not going to build a base. And then we almost like didn't get the Statue of Liberty because we didn't want to put forth any money to help.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, they're kind of just like, they're like, guys, you understand the point of a gift, right? Like, why am I supposed to pay for this gift?
I gave one of my roommates a car once, and I owed some money on, I don't remember what, like I had to get it registered or something, but it ended up being whatever it was, a pass ticket. I don't remember. It was like $300-400. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to give you this car if you want the car. Like, you know, it's not like it was a birthday gift. It was an offer. You could take it because you don't have a car right now, but you know, you got to take care of this little bit. And I expected them to be very, very, very grateful because we were in a situation where they really could use a car. But instead it was like, thanks for giving me a bill. And I was like, oh, that's not the way I was looking at it, but fair enough.
Yeah, you know, I guess there are a little gray area there in there.
Yeah, at least the city was like, yeah, we'll totally get your giant, you know, what is it? The name of this creature, the Nessie type statue. We just gotta figure out.
Nahuelito.
Nahuelito.
I love that. I love that name.
Yeah.
Well, it just like reminds me of mojito.
Oh, a little
Nahuelito.
bit. I definitely want to go see this statue. I don't know the next time I'm going to be in Argentina, but if I am in Argentina, I'm checking it out.
Don't cry for me, Argentina.
The truth is, I never left you.
Isn't that, yeah,
Yeah. The truth is, I never left
Oh,
you.
thank you. Thank you, because I literally only knew just the first part. I had to watch it in my Spanish class, so that's how I know.
Wasn't that movie Madonna? Yeah, I think that was Madonna.
Was
What was the
it?
name of that movie?
Was it?
Yeah, it was absolutely Madonna.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. I know it's weird, Ryan. Some things in life are weird.
They are weird, Joe. Like Madonna. She's pretty weird, honestly.
Yeah.
Shout out to Madonna. But
That's it on this week's Real World Weird. Well, hold on, actually. We have another Real World Weird right here.
Bizarre Bigfoot simulation video game lets you live as a Sasquatch.
Finally!
This comes to us from coasttocoastam.com. If you've ever wanted to roam around the forests as a cryptozoological hominid, now you can. Developed by Planet 47 Games, the game enables the player to become Bigfoot and engage in all the typical activities that you might expect a tall, hairy, bipedal ape-like beast to spend its time on.
Crochet.
Maybe I catch and eat fish,
That makes more sense, yeah.
insects, and other creatures. The game synopsis states, forage the forest for mushrooms, berries, and more. Build shelters to store your items in to get through the harsh winters. Earn extra points by breaking branches and scaring the wildlife. The game has its share of obstacles too, from Bigfoot hunters who try to take pictures of you to adverse weather conditions. The game, called Bigfoot Life, is the latest example of the highly popular simulator games genre, which seeks to simulate things that you wouldn't normally expect to see simulated. One of the weirdest examples, I Am Jesus Christ, is still in development, but aims to enable the player to roleplay as Jesus, complete with performing miracles and walking on water.
All right, I will say that is a great game idea, but only if it's like Fable or Knights of the Old Republic and you can go good or bad. Because I'm just saying, if Jesus' powers were turned towards evil, can you imagine just walking around just shooting lightning like a Jedi at people? Like, yeah.
It's just like, so we got the results back from what all the gamers chose. It's like, yeah, everyone went evil.
Yeah, evil Jesus is trending on
Dude,
X and
oh my God, it would be. It would be.
But you know, Bigfoot, that's actually a lot of fun. I like the idea of like running from Bigfoot hunters, because this whole time we're always following these people who are trying to find Bigfoot and find evidence of Bigfoot. So turn it around, make a whole game where Bigfoot's making fake tracks and just like I'm gonna hide from the hunters.
I mean, it makes sense, right? They probably just do like, kind of like the sneak mode kind of thing. Like you probably go like into a crouch, hide behind a tree. Or,
Oh, that
you know?
actually sucks. I don't like stealth games. I kind of want it to be funner, but all right, fair enough.
That might be. I don't know. I'm just speculating.
I want it to be this real kind of actiony thing, and then it turns out to be what is it, Metal Gear Solid. That's how I felt about the Last of Us video game. I was like, I wanted a zombie game, and while it was great storytelling, it ended up being mostly stealth.
And then it turns out, okay, and then it turns out that the Bigfoot game is just all of a sudden he just pulls out an assault rifle and he's just like, here we go. Bigfoot is back and he's pissed.
No, that would be the sequel, right? Like
Yeah.
after they sell out. This simulator does great, so then they make a sequel, and instead of being true to their original vision, all the studio notes have made it be a GTA clone.
And literally, yeah, you're Bigfoot and you just have to go town to town and just take everyone out.
Bigfoot is sick of being hunted. Now he's the hunter.
Yes.
Wait till he comes to your town.
Trademark
it's all
Earthling
about-
Entertainment.
Yeah, and it's all about a Bigfoot apocalypse where they're going like through the entire world, town by town, taking everybody out.
I'm just saying, like it works. It works.
I do. Yeah, and you know what? Later down the line, I'll tell you about this idea I have for a play, and it could be the prequel to that. That's all I'm saying.
And then in the game have an unlockable weapon that's the bowcaster, Chewbacca's bowcaster, because it's a big bipedal hairy guy, so it would be kind of a fun little tip of the hat.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So there is also, this is the one that I thought of, the highly popular Goat Simulator series.
Yeah. I think they'd never made Goat Simulator 2. They released Goat Simulator 3 without releasing 2 because it was part of the joke.
Oh, that makes sense. See, I never even played those. So what's next? A Loch Ness Monster Simulator?
I hope so.
You can find all of the above mentioned games on the Steam platform for PC.
I'm just trying to think of like the other weird like sequels and spinoffs if this hits. Imagine a crazy taxi spinoff where Bigfoot is in New York doing taxi drives. Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, that would be a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so after they completely sell out and they just have no more moral fiber, just all the things you can do with the Bigfoot games as they move on. Go retro style, do a paperboy game.
There you go. There you go. Bigfoot. It has to be like a comedically small bike.
You know, that's true. I feel like there's a lot to talk about with Bigfoot. You know what, Ryan? I think we're going to finally pull the trigger. A few weeks from now, right? Maybe 2 weeks from now, let's do a Bigfoot episode, like a full on. We've never actually covered Bigfoot.
I'd be honored.
Yeah. We'll do one of the bottle episodes. So it actually, the whole thing, not just spooky stuff, the whole thing will be about Bigfoot. You heard it here. We're doing this, Ryan.
We're getting silly for Sasquatch.
2 weeks from today. I think that's the 7th of next month. That's happening.
Yeah.
All right.
Here we go.
Coming June 7th, 2025, it's the 3rd annual Cryptids and Paranormal Conference held at Our House. With guest speakers Ronnie LeBlanc, Expedition Bigfoot, paranormal researcher Lyle Blackburn, ghost hunter Ron Iacovetti, Dr. Jeff Meldrum, and from Phantoms and Monsters, Lon Strickler. That's June 7th, 2025. Our House, located at 420 Adelphia Road, Farmingdale, New Jersey. Tickets are $45, available at Eventbrite. We will see you there.
Earthling Entertainment special report.
1. A Clueless television series is in the works with Alicia Silverstone returning as her character, Cher Horowitz.
2. Hayden Christensen is returning as Anakin Skywalker in Ahsoka Season 2.
3. Steve's Lava Chicken from a Minecraft movie, the shortest song ever to debut on UK's official chart.
This has been an Earthling Entertainment
Special report.
Calling all comic fans, it's time to feed your brain at Green Brain Comics, where the freshest new issues, graphic novels, and manga hit the shelves every week. Whether you're looking for the hottest new series or the latest small press sensation, we've got it all. Every genre for every age, Green Brain Comics is your one-stop shop for all things graphic storytelling. Got questions? Our friendly staff knows their stuff. Whether you're a longtime fan or new to the world of comics, we've got recommendations that'll keep you coming back for more. And don't forget to check out our special events. Green Brain Comics is not just a store, it's a community. Located in East Downtown Dearborn, we are at Green Brain Comics on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Shop online at greenbraincomics.com and remember to feed your brain at Green Brain Comics.
It's true, you made it through to the second half of the show.
And we hope you enjoyed our halftime show. Welcome back to the game. But for real, we are in the entertainment pop culture section now, and we're going to start it off with
Music Mumbles.
The Cure Recruit Quartet, Paul Oakenfold, Deftones' Chino Moreno, and more for new Songs of a Lost World remix album. Yay! I'm excited.
interesting.
This comes to us from Pitchfork.com. The Cure have announced a new Songs of a Lost World remix album. The new album, Mixes of a Lost World, is out June 13th and features remixes by Deftones frontman Chino Moreno, Trent Moeller, Mogwai, Orbital, The Twilight Sad, Daniel Avery, Mira Mesa, Ame, Shanti Celeste, and more. Proceeds from Mixes of a Lost World will benefit War Child UK.
Oh, that's good.
In a statement, The Cure's Robert Smith said, "Just after Christmas, I was sent a couple of unsolicited remixes of Songs of a Lost World tracks, and I really loved them. The Cure has a colorful history with all kinds of dance music, and I was curious as to how the whole album would sound entirely reinterpreted by others. This curiosity resulted in a fabulous trip through all 8 songs by 24 wonderful artists and remixers, and is way beyond anything I could have hoped for. Beyond our recording royalties from the project to, giving our recording royalties from the project to War Child helps make Mixes of a Lost World an even more special release." Songs of a Lost World was released in November. It marked The Cure's first studio album since October 2008's 413 Dream.
See, I want to be cynical at first when I first hear this. Like, oh, you're going to release your same album with other people playing your songs. Yeah, okay, that seems like a little self-indulgent, just a way to get more money. Then you find out they're donating all the money,
hmm
and then it goes back to, never mind, Robert Smith's an artist.
He's
How dare I? How
he's
dare I, Ryan?
dude. Robert Smith is an absolute just what a beast. I love this man so much. Like he's always so good to his fans. What a genuine person. And like just this is awesome. I'm excited for this. It reminds me of albums by like Fear Factory where they did demanufacture and then fans started remixing it and they got inspired so they released remanufacture where it was the whole album remixed. And I thought that was really cool. So this is giving me the same kind of vibe. So I could really see this like being really interesting cuz I loved Songs of a Lost World. If you guys haven't listened to it, it's a great album. Like really brings in my opinion they went back to what am I trying to think? Disintegration, which in my opinion is their best work. And if you like that kind of style, lullaby, pictures of you, you're going to hear it again in this. So now we actually get to hear it remix, which is very interesting, you know?
I don't know, man. I don't know if I like it because sometimes covers I've liked more than originals when I didn't realize the cover was a cover. I think the first time I heard the song "Landslide" was I don't know if I think it was Smashing Pumpkins, and I didn't realize that it was a Stevie Nicks song from way back when. So I'm wondering if there's people who are going to listen to these songs and it's going to be their version of the song. How weird would that be?
Well, and it probably will be, but I mean, this isn't like it's not like they're covering it, right? They're remixing it. They're like restructuring the songs. They're probably repeating parts. You know what I'm saying? They're
Huh, interesting.
because that's what they're calling it. Is the yeah, it was like
I kind of assume there's a little bit of cover too because they're talking about frontmans. That means they're going to be singing their version of it, correct?
No, it's just it says features remixes by Deftones frontman Chino Moreno, Trent Moeller, Mogwai, Orbital, The Twilight Sad. So all these people are just gonna take it, and these are artists, but they're just gonna mess with it, right? They're gonna take it and make like he said, like a dance track almost. You know, there's possibility for that. So it's that's why I like this idea, and that's why they're calling it mixes of a lost world.
I get it. I don't know, man. I can't say I'm a old Cure fan, but I was always a fan of them from the early '90s because of the Crow movie. I don't think I was a goth kid, but I definitely was a punk skater, go to Hot Topic in the early 2000s kid. So the Crow was kind of a big deal, and through that, the goth scene and the music, I was really into the Cure. Remember when we went and saw the Cure together?
I do. It was awesome. Pine Knob needs to work on their parking lot, but other than that, my God, what a show!
Yeah, so Pine Knob is this great amphitheater. It's an outside event. It's in Michigan, and they have the normal seating, but then they also have what's beyond what makes it the amphitheater, which is a giant hill that if you want to, you can get cheaper tickets and just stand on a weird angle for hours.
Which I do all the time because I'm cheap.
It's not bad. It's not bad. We missed half the show because of the parking.
Yeah, we missed, I believe, the first 4 songs, and which was unfortunate because they played "Pictures of You," which is like my favorite, and so I didn't get to hear it.
They played Burn. I really like that one.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons.
Oh yeah. No, what's funny is I think my first experience with The Cure had nothing to do with their music. You know what I'm about to say.
Once again, Ryan is very affected by the early years of South Park.
Yes.
If it's not referencing South Park, it's things South Park has introduced him to.
Yes, where literally he comes and becomes Mothra and fights again Mech Streisand.
I don't remember if it was season 1 or 2, but
I want to say 1.
you want to say 1?
I do because I can see it's very old school animation.
Yeah, so Robert Smith from The Cure fights as a giant kaiju Barbra Streisand over the triangles of Nemba Blah.
Something like I forget.
Blah.
And so Cartman's holding the triangles at the very end, and he's just like, "Okay, I'll take that back now." And he's like, "Nah, they're mine." And he's like, "I'll Rochambeau you for it." And he just kicks him in the nads.
And as Robert Smith is walking off, Stan looks and screams out, "What, Disintegration?"
Disintegration is the best album of all time.
Robert Smith had mentioned that he didn't know that was going to be in the show, and
Yeah.
when he heard it later, he was so touched.
Yeah, he was he was genuinely really honored. He was like, "Wow, that's, wonderful." Like, that's awesome. Like, what a way to mix like all the best things ever. And then yes, since then I've discovered The Cure's music, and Robert Smith is just a delight.
Sometimes you just got to listen to The Cure. You just got to listen to the Smiths and just kind of, go goth out for a little bit. It happens, man.
Light a couple candles, pull the shades shut.
Yeah, cry in a
Get
corner,
in,
drink
loser.
coffee.
We're going crying.
Oh, excellent. Unfortunately, it's that time again to say goodbye to those in the entertainment industry that have passed on. And while this gentleman may not be in movies or TV shows as an actor or a producer or a director, he has affected things that you may or may not realize. He is a paranormal investigator who did his job for a long time, known as a big skeptic. But even if that annoys you, you got to remember that skeptics are important because they help us find the truth. If you are a true believer in the paranormal, if you want to discover Bigfoot or find proof of a ghost, you can't ignore the skeptics. They keep you honest. All right, guys, so let's tip our hat to this week's...
Remember that guy? Remember that gal? Well, now they're dead.
Paranormal investigator known as Real Life Scully, dead at 80. This comes to us from nypost.com. A paranormal investigator known as the Real Life Scully, who died last month, was remembered as an icon and hero within the skeptical community, credited with cracking hundreds of mysteries. Joe Nickell called himself the world's only full-time professional paranormal investigator and was known for digging into some of the world's biggest myths before he died on March 4th, 2025, at the age of 80 from an undisclosed cause, according to reports.
Yeah, the cause was he was 80.
Yeah.
Sometimes people die of old age.
It happens, yeah. The Skeptical Inquirer, where Nickell had worked as a columnist for decades, wrote last month that he probed various enigmas, including historical, forensic, and paranormal. Joe was a hands-on investigator who could be found aboard the Queen Mary looking for alleged ghosts, or in a farmer's field investigating crop circles, or roaming the shores of Loch Ness looking for Nessie, or touring China studying traditional Chinese medicine and examining the claims of Qigong monsters. This barely scratches the surface, said Barry Carr, the executive director of the Committee for Skeptical Inquiry, which, along with the publication, is owned by the Center for Inquiry. Nickell, also known as the real-life Sherlock Holmes, told The New Yorker in 2002 that his goal was to conduct investigations with a kinder, gentler skepticism.
Yeah, he's not going to call you stupid.
That's nice. That's very nice of him.
Yeah. Which it helps. People tend to be more receptive when they're not being called idiots to their face, I find.
Yeah, just like looking at you like, yeah, sure. Mm-hmm. What next? I'm tired of these debunkers coming by my office and saying, "Hey, Nickell, seen any ghosts lately? Har, har, har," he said. "I'm not saying there's a 50-50 chance that there is a ghost in that haunted house. I think the chances are closer to 99.9% that there isn't. But let's go look. We might learn something interesting as hell."
Yeah, hence the name The Scully.
Yes.
Yeah, he definitely was not the guy who's like believing you, but he'll look. He'll look. If you tell him there's an alien, he'll go see if if there's an alien.
He's like, honestly, I just got free time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was his job, but fair enough.
He said on his website that in contrast with mystery mongers on one side of the spectrum and so-called debunkers on the other side, he believed that mysteries should actually be investigated with a view towards solving them. He also listed more than 1,000 personas that helped him with his job, including magician, private investigator, federal fugitive, food server, beer master, and Bigfoot hunter.
This guy was like a jack of all trades. He's like a process server. He just sit there, opens up his truck, and it's just like, all right, what are going to be? I'm going to be a mailman to find the truth today.
Just has a wheel, just spins the wheel on what it's going to land on.
Yeah. One of those really awesome closets that come out like a dry cleaning place and just has a moving rack of just endless amount of costumes. And then some of them, because in my head, everything's a movie. Some of them have to pass by camera without ever being talked about, like a weird bunny suit or something. Just strange things. How will I discover the truth today? I'll unlock the secrets of that haunting as a cheerleader. Why not?
No, Easter Bunny. Going as the Easter Bunny today. Nicola was born on December 1st, 1944, and died in his Buffalo, New York home. His daughter told the New York Times in an obit published this weekend. Obituary, sorry. He didn't treat a ghost story or as a ghost story or a UFO story as a UFO story. Kenny Biddle, the chief investigator at the Committee for Skeptical Inquiry, told the Times. Joe Nickel, you will be missed.
That's right. I just thought it was good to honor this guy. I mean, our show is built on a bunch of the paranormal beliefs that he's probably investigated at one point or another. You know?
Yeah.
So it just seemed like a good time to like I said, tip our hat to the gentleman.
I agree. And like you said, without skeptics, where would we be? And also, he solved a lot of things. And at the end of the day, we want the truth. So if he's solved that many things, great. One less thing to worry about, you know?
Yeah, there are a lot of things that I really, really want the fantasy version of to be real. But if someone offers you solid evidence and an explanation as to what it is, if you ignore it, well, that's willful ignorance. You can't do that.
No, not going to get far doing that.
But speaking of not being ignorant, there's some entertainment news coming up, Ryan, that you may not have heard of.
Woo woo.
Earthling Entertainment headlines.
Sarah Michelle Gellar, Elijah Wood, and David Cronenberg join the cast of the Ready or Not sequel. This comes to us from Rumorg.com. As if we weren't looking forward to this one already, they're stacking the cast to make it a must-see. Variety reports that genre faves Sarah Michelle Gellar and Elijah Wood, along with the legendary David Cronenberg, are co-starring in Searchlight Pictures' Ready or Not, Here I Come. The sequel to the modern cult fave, Ready or Not, started shooting this Monday, the 21st of April in Toronto. Original lead Samara Weaving is returning as Grace, also joined by Catherine Newton from Freaky and Pokemon Detective Pikachu. We're thrilled to be returning to the world of Ready or Not and are so excited to work with this immensely talented cast and the incredible artists across every department joining the Ready or Not family. Say Matt Bettinelli, Olpen, and Tyler Gillette, the two franchise directors.
Yeah, I will give it to you that gentleman has a hard name and it has a hyphen. It's
Bettinelli Olpen.
Yeah, Olpin.
Yeah.
With a dash. So Matt Bettinelli Olpin.
It's new to me.
Huh. Interesting. Anyways, they directed the first film too, so I'm glad they're back on board. Same writers as well as the first movie.
I never saw it. I got to see it now. Searchlight Pictures president Matthew Greenfield added, "We're beyond excited to make another film with the phenomenal Radio Silence. With Ready or Not, Here I Come. We get to go on another ride with the amazing Samara Weaving, mix in awesome new voices, and bring audiences a fresh take that's every bit as twisted and fun as the first one. This is for those who've been waiting and those who didn't see it coming."
Ooh. So this is actually one of my favorite horror flicks. I shouldn't say horror flicks. It's fun and it's horror elements, but it's more of a horror comedy, maybe an action comedy. I don't know. Ryan, since you don't know about this movie, I'm going to tell you what it is. So our listeners, hey, I'm going to spoil the first Ready or Not. Just jump ahead about a minute and that's it. So this is your spoiler warning. So, Samira Weaving marries a gentleman who is from a rich family, and they got all their money from board games, strangely enough. Well, this rich family has a tradition that the night of the wedding, they have to play a little game. And she can draw a card, and the card could be anything. But if the card is hide and seek, the entire family has to hunt her down and murder her. So, the whole movie is she's being hunted down by the family. And this is all due to the fact that they made a pact with the devil, and the devil said, okay, your family will have prosperity and be successful in this board game franchise, but everybody who marries and joins the family could possibly end up with this fate of being hunted. And as it goes through, there's a big question as to, is it real, is it not, the family crazy, what's going on? And it turns out, this is the spoiler part, it is absolutely real. And when she survives the night, they all just start exploding, like popping like blood balloons. It is amazing. Kids, women, children, men, everyone, they all just start going
Oh my God.
It's amazing. And that's how the movie ends, is where the mansion's being burnt down and Samira Weaving lights a cigarette on the porch while being covered in blood and everyone's dead but her.
Alrighty then.
So it is a fantastic movie, and I can't wait for the sequel. And I love Elijah Wood and everything he does. I feel like he gets a lifetime pass after Lord of the Rings. And then Sarah Michelle Gellar, I mean, come on, man. Buffy the Vampire Slayer aside, she's great in everything she does, too.
Yeah.
I really like her in Southland Tales. A lot of people don't know that Richard Kelly film. It was his follow-up to Donnie Darko. But if you like Sarah Michelle Gellar, The Rock's in it, too. Check out Southland Tales. But yeah. So ready or not, man.
No, here I come, I guess.
Great name. The only name that would be better for a sequel would be Beetlejuice 3 being Beetlejuice. Michael Keaton! Get out of here, Michael Keaton!
I hate it every time this happens. I'm not cleaning that up. No.
Headline number 2.
Glenn Powell to star in and co-write country western comedy for director Judd Apatow and Universal. This comes to us from IndieWire.com. Glenn Powell's passion for working with acclaimed directors continues with a yet untitled comedy alongside Judd Apatow. Powell will star in the next film as directed by Apatow, in which Powell will portray a country western star in Free Fall, which is giving real A Star is Born vibes. Powell will also co-write the script alongside Apatow, and the project is being fast-tracked by Universal Pictures. Both Apatow and Powell will also produce the comedy, so they're busy, as will former Universal Pictures president of production Kevin Misher via his Misher Films banner. Powell first collaborated with Universal for Twisters. Apatow's relationship with Universal began with his 2005 directorial debut, The 40-Year-Old Virgin, and he has since directed Knocked Up, Funny People, This Is 40, Trainwreck, and The King of Staten Island for the studio. While little information is currently out there, the track record of these two Hollywood titans speak for themselves. At the very least, things look promising.
They do. And here's the thing is I like Judd Apatow a lot as a filmmaker, but I like him as a pure comedic filmmaker. I'm not as big of a fan when he starts getting into too much drama. So like the ones they named, 40-Year-Old Virgin and Knocked Up, I love those. They're really, really funny. Funny People is an example of one where I think they got a little too filled with drama. It was 2.5 hours of basically not fun jokes and then a deplorable character who survives cancer only to kind of be an asshole. That one didn't really do much for me. The King of Staten Island was great, though.
I didn't finish it. I didn't finish that one. I watched 40-Year-Old Virgin. Knocked Up, I've seen, of course. Knocked Up's great. Twisters, I didn't see.
It was good. It's funny because it's supposed to be a sequel to Twisters, but it's not a sequel because it's just like, this happened later with unrelated characters. You know what I mean?
And a Twister.
Yeah, I mean, because tornadoes keep happening, so I guess you could have as many sequels as you want.
Can I tell you where I don't want to live? In the tornado belt or whatever. Like, you know, where they say that tornadoes free. I'm just like, why do you live there?
I mean, make your house where most of it's underground, right? Like if you're always going to a storm cellar, make the top of your house like a little home, you know, like a straight up little home, but then have all the rest of it underground. How cool would that be? Like a little bunker.
I guess. I don't know. It might get a little claustrophobic though, you know?
It would, but if you do it in like the side of the hill where you could actually have windows, it would still be protected from most storms, you know what I mean?
And then it just blows a tree just directly like a spear right through your door, just
I guess, but that's just as likely as if you had a normal house.
That's what I'm saying. Why live there?
Or if you're going to live there, at least try not to have a mobile home. If you are the economic class where you have to live in a mobile home, go somewhere without crazy windstorms. If you have a choice.
Yes. And I certainly have a choice. That's for sure. I have an opinion on that. But no, this sounds fun. Western comedies are always hilarious. I don't know why. To me, they just are like, 1,000 Ways to Die in the Old West.
I don't think that's a Western comedy. I think he's a Western singer, like a country singer, and it's him dealing with the downfall of his career.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Which
okay.
makes a lot more sense for Judd Apatow. Now, if Seth MacFarlane was doing it, then it would be a Western comedy.
You're right. But I'm here for that as well. What was it? Adam Sandler did one. The the Terrible Nine or something like that. He did like a
The
weird.
Ridiculous Six, I
That
think.
was it.
Yeah.
Ridiculous Six. Thank you.
Well,
Why does he have 3 nipples? It's like the only line I remember.
You know what? Glenn Powell's been growing on me a bit. I didn't really care for him in a lot of the things. I didn't care for him in the sequel to Top Gun, but then he did a rom-com with Sydney Sweeney, and that was a little bit entertaining. But what really did it was it's the future projects he's doing. He's gonna be in the new Running Man, and the Running Man, of course, is kind of like Stephen King's take on a game show where people die. Like a convicted killer needs to escape from all this nonsense. And Glenn Powell's going to be doing that. And he's producing that. So I'll give this guy a little bit more of a watch.
Yeah, I will say my one thing I really do know him is from the new Top Gun, and I thought he did a good enough job. I like that movie, honestly.
Yeah, I just don't like the douchey bro character, and he just does that character so well. They keep giving him those roles.
It works for him.
I want to switch it though. I want to see this guy be like a weird nerd or something.
Yeah, make him like really scared of the light. Make him Nick Swardson from Benchwarmers. I want to see it.
Perfect. Come on, Glenn Powell, you coward. Play a real part.
We're waiting.
Oh, well, anyways, Judd Apatow also did a movie called The Bubble. It was on Netflix, and it was the bubble because it was like the bubble we all had to have during quarantine. And it basically, they were shooting a movie, and while that movie was happening, COVID happens, and they all have to kind of be quarantined on set, and it's the shenanigans that happened during that. A little bit of nepotism, even though she did a great job. His daughter, Iris Apatow, she was in it, and I'm not kidding, she did a good job. Daisy Ridley had a fun cameo in that one too. The Bubble, good movie, man.
Far out. Daisy Ridley, huh?
Yeah, Daisy Ridley, and I think Pedro Pascal's in that as well.
Wow.
Yeah, Keegan-Michael Key's in it.
Huh.
Yeah, The Bubble on Netflix. Check it out. The reason why you haven't heard of this movie is because Netflix does a terrible job of telling people about their movies, and then after the movie comes out, you never hear about it again. So if you missed it, it just gets buried in the algorithm.
And they just take that subscription fee. They just take it.
Like Dark Sith Lord holding all the energy of the Force. Kind of like headline number 3.
Darth Maul show will be the next Star Wars Disney Plus series. This comes to us from Nerdist.com. The time has finally come for Darth Maul to take center stage in a show of his very own. At Star Wars Celebration 2025, Lucasfilm announced its next Disney Plus series would be an animated offering all about Darth Maul and his nefarious underworld adventures. The series will be called Star Wars Maul Shadow Lord, and will star longtime Darth Maul voice actor Sam Witwer. Darth Maul is a dark side figure who has truly won fans' hearts. Darth Maul appeared in the live-action Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, and Solo, A Star Wars Story. But Darth Maul truly made his mark in the successful Star Wars animated series from George Lucas and Dave Filoni, Star Wars, The Clone Wars, and Star Wars Rebels. And so it makes sense that Darth Maul is heading back to animation in his next chapter.
Yeah, he did great. The reason why he made a big splash in the Clone Wars is because when we first got him, he was killed immediately in the first film.
Yep.
So we didn't even know that they were going to bring him back. But because he was so popular, they decided in the Clone Wars animated show to bring him back. And they did it in some weird convoluted way. At first, he had like robot spider legs.
He definitely did.
Yeah. And then he has a lot of things that he affects throughout. Crimson Dawn is an evil organization that he's a part of, like they're gangsters, and he runs that for a while. He goes after the Empire. He gets his brother. They follow him all the way through Rebels, where he actually is eventually killed by Obi-Wan Kenobi, his canonical death. So this series is going to take place kind of in the middle. I believe it's about a couple years after the Clone Wars.
Yeah, and he almost turned Ezra. He was really
to the
close.
dark side, yeah, in Rebels season 1 finale, yeah.
Yeah, it was really close. Lucasfilm shares in a new series set after the events of the final season of the Clone Wars. Maul rises again to lead the underworld factions. Additionally, the official Star Wars site notes of the Darth Maul series after the Clone Wars, Maul plots to rebuild his criminal syndicate on a planet untouched by the Empire. Sounds like a fun adventure. Whitwer additionally shared at the panel that the series takes place about a year after the Clone Wars.
Okay, so about a year.
And that Darth Maul is dusting himself off a bit after Ahsoka kicked him to the curb. Which I love that, where she's like, "You're no Jedi." And she's like, "I guess it'll be a fair fight. You're only half a Sith." Whitwer adds, "We learned some different things about this character. He's got some different traits that you wouldn't necessarily think he has that make perfect sense from what he's been through."
See, that worries me a little bit because I don't want him to completely change. I don't want to have a story where he's, you don't know what happened in this off time, but in this off time, he went there and had a kid and raised a family and like had goats and like, if they try to make him too much of a protagonist, if they're like, I'm fine with him being a Sith Lord, a dark, evil Sith Lord, and having a series about him. What I don't want is to have a series where they're like, Maul's just misunderstood. Look at him, saved his village, and he's using the Force, but for good this time. But by the end of the show, he goes back to evil, so everything works canonically.
It's just like, I feel a disturbance in the Force. My spinach puffs.
You know what? Actually, I take it back. They completely changed tone, like 100%, to do like a weird early 90s, late 80s sitcom where it's like Darth Maul and his wife and kids.
Dude, right?
Dude. I might see that, actually. That just, yeah. All right. I take it back, Ryan. That's all I want now.
Remember that time when Darth Maul almost just leveled a random child in the desert that he had no clue who it was? If he didn't go, "Anakin, drop," he would have just taken him out with that speeder. like for no reason. He has no idea. Darth Maul had no idea who this kid. He's going after Qui-Gon.
Right. So Ryan sometimes doesn't do a good job of talking about what he's talking about. So in episode 1, when Darth Maul's first introduced, he's about to run over Anakin before he even knows who Anakin is.
Just completely random
with a speeder.
It's just gonna take this kid out in the desert on his way to getting a Jedi. So I don't know if he'd be a great father figure, I think is what I was going with that.
Fair enough. So no sitcom in your book.
I don't know. I don't think so. Lucasfilm has revealed that Star Wars Maul Shadow Lord will debut on Disney Plus in 2026.
I understand the need to label it Star Wars, but I just feel like a better name for this show would just be called Shadow Lord.
Yeah.
Like if it was just called Shadow Lord, how awesome would that be?
I kind of agree with you, but it's almost like they're like, we want to make sure everybody knows it's Maul.
I wonder if this is the Darth Maul movie that was going to happen, because it seems like that's what they did. They took the Obi-Wan movie, made it into a long-form 6-episode show. They took the Boba Fett movie, made it into that show. So I wonder if this was another movie. It's just being recycled.
Yeah, it sounds like that's kind of what they do. And I mean, as we always know, it's exciting because this was actually announced at a big convention. So these, as far as we know, are happening.
Well, no, this is definitely happening. That was Star Wars Celebration. Well, okay. So if it's not a movie, Lucasfilm usually does what they say they're going to do.
Right.
With the exception of a few really deep cut video games, most things aren't getting canceled.
Right. Well, just throwing it out there don't get too, sometimes it does happen. Sometimes it randomly happens.
It does. But speaking of video games, that actually has something to do with our next headline.
Michael Bay and Sydney Sweeney team on movie adaptation of Outrun video game at Universal. Yeah. This comes to us from Deadline.com. With the Minecraft movie owning the box office over the past month and HBO The Last of Us returning with a bang, Universal is looking to add its own video game adaptation to the mix with the help of 2 big superstars. Sources tell Deadline that the studio is developing a feature adaptation of Sega's iconic arcade video game, Outrun, with Michael Bay attached to direct and Sydney Sweeney aboard to produce.
Which totally makes sense, because while I'm not a huge fan of Michael Bay, he is good at action. That's what he's good at. And he also tends to work with people who like just explosions and hot chicks and American flags in the background while they drink a Bud Light. Like, that's kind of those movies.
Right.
So this lends itself well to that. It's just, I don't know if you ever played the game, but I think the title says it all. You're driving a car and you're trying to outrun.
No, and it just cracks me up because it's straight up just like a racing game. It's like a drag racing game. And what cracks me up about it is that's the game. You start and then the race is over. next level. So it's like they literally can do anything they want as long as they eventually get into a car.
That's kind of why it's a perfect adaptation. Like, there's not going to be any diehard fans you're going to piss off because you didn't get the story right. Even Mortal Kombat has a story.
And let me tell like what was it? Rampage. They screwed up one of the only major things about it, that after the giant monsters get hurt, they transform into a little naked person that runs off. And they just never even touched on that. I'm like, that's literally one of the only main.
Yeah.
It's like big monsters destroy buildings. They turn into humans when they get hurt.
Yeah, you know what? You're
Like-
absolutely right. I hadn't thought about it, but is that why the Rampage movie didn't work?
I
think
think
it could be.
I'm gonna go ahead and say yeah, because it's like it's literally it. I get it. Like
There's
you made
supposed
a
to be
big gorilla, but
Well, there's supposed to be people who turned into monsters, and instead of that movie, they were just monsters. You know what? You're right, Ryan.
Yeah.
I'm outraged.
I'm just telling you.
I didn't remember why I was pissed off about that movie, but I'm back. I'm back at being angry.
No, yeah, screw that movie. they should have turned it to people. Anyways,
I'm gonna outrun it.
back to Outrun.
Aha.
The project is in development as of right now. Sweeney is only on board to produce.
She'll probably star in it. All that means is the ink isn't dry yet on the contract, you know?
Yeah. Toru Nakahara, Sonic the Hedgehog 1 through 3, Knuckles, and Golden Axe, wow, will also produce for Sega. And, Shuji Utsumi, president of CEO of Sega Corp, will oversee the project on behalf of Sega. Sorry about that. Plot details are vague. This is, like I said, they can do anything they want.
I think it
Eventually,
has something to do with cars.
there
We're not
will be a
sure.
car. The Sega Outrun series is a franchise that originated from some of the most successful arcade games in the world during the 1980s. The game pioneered a new genre of driving games and spawned an electronic music subgenre aptly called Outrun. The unique combo made it a worldwide hit. Since then, numerous installments have been released, including home console versions, and it continues to be one of Sega's flagship franchises.
A lot of that I didn't know, and it reminds me of, I don't know, the F-Zero. That's a game I want. I want an actual movie of F-Zero, bud. Do you remember that? It was on Super Nintendo. I think they made one for GameCube, and it was just the really, really, really fast kind of sci-fi racer.
I do remember that. It was
Yeah.
almost kind of reminded me of like Tron on the bikes, kind of.
A bit like the light cycles.
Yeah.
But it makes sense that they're taking any kind of video game IP and they're trying to make it into a movie, because video game movies right now are hitting. They mentioned Last of Us, that's just a TV show, but the Minecraft movie, Minecraft movie, it's made over $750 million so far, and it's only been out for, I think, like a week and a half.
And I will say this, it's a popular game right now. This Outrun, like, I'm looking at it right now. I recognize this image. It is like I've played this game. I remember playing it when I was camping. They had an arcade and this was in there, and I played this all the time. And it just cracks me up because I'm just like, I just don't see the pull for They're really gonna have to make it awesome.
Well, you got to remember that there are other places in the world, like Sega's a Japanese company, hence all the names that were hard to pronounce. And I think they still have a big booming arcade love there. There's still arcades. They like going to the arcade is still a thing. So there could be versions of this game, like many games, that was released in Japan that we never got a hold of. So there could be a bigger audience than you think, just not in our personal bubble.
What I want to see at the end of the day, I want to see a really good Pokemon movie, like a good one, like a straight up.
As far as video game movies,
Not like, I get it. Detective Pikachu, I guess, was based on the video game. I never played it, so I just saw the movie. I had no frame of reference,
and it just wasn't as true to the game as you wanted it to be, or the IP.
I want to see a dude get his starter Pokemon and start out like you can even make it. Shit, you can make it a trilogy.
You know, you could watch the Pokemon show.
I have.
Oh, well, what I'm saying is, like, that's the story of the game. Like, I don't know if you could crunch that into a single movie.
That's why I said make it a trilogy. Fuck it. Like I'm telling you, I would watch the Pokemon trilogy. But they need to make it like new, like really good, really new. Like do it with I'm not talking Ash Ketchum and Team Rocket. Make up a completely different story, but just insert it into the game exactly. Other than
you want the world. You want someone starting off to get their starter Pokemon to win X badges and go to a tournament or what have you.
And I'd like to just see it done, like, and you could even do it like, like I said, do one movie, see how it does. Maybe he gets a couple gyms and That's all you do. Have a little bit of a mishap happen.
There's too many movies that are set up to be trilogies and have sequels that don't actually have an ending because they're trying to set them up for sequels. If you're gonna do that first movie, you got, in my opinion, you got to complete it. But
Taking notes,
right? Their video game movie that I would want to see out of all the video games out there would be Jak and Dexter: The Precursor Legacy.
That would be a good one.
I really like Jak and Dexter, and I want the movies to be just like the games. I want the first one to be kind of kiddie, and then I want to make a hard right in number 2, where suddenly we're swearing, we have guns, and we're killing people. They changed, man. That first game was E for everyone. That second game was T for teen.
I'm surprised we haven't gotten like a Skyrim show. I'll bet you that's been pitched.
It's got to be a lot of money, though, man. You can't have magic and dragons and any believable settings or clothing without costing a lot of money.
They did good with The Witcher at first. They were doing pretty good.
I mean, The Witcher's still good. I'm interested to see how it's going to be after Henry Cavill's gone, because I don't know if the Hemsworth boy will do as well. But hey, I'll give it a watch.
Toss a coin to your Witcher. Sorry, couldn't help myself.
Headline number 5.
Pacific Rim TV series will officially happen at Prime Video. This comes to us from Collider.com. Variety reports that Eric Hesserer is writing and executive producing the TV spin-off of Guillermo del Toro's 2013 sci-fi film Pacific Rim. In that film, an interdimensional rift opened beneath the Pacific Ocean, unleashing colossal kaiju monsters on humanity. To combat the creatures, humanity works together to build enormous mecha suits known as Jaegers to battle the beasts. It was a critical and commercial success, making $411 million US on a $200 million budget and earning a 72% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
Not too shabby.
The new TV series is to be a prequel to the 2013 film, which previously received a 2018 sequel and a 2021 Netflix animated series. The new series will be live-action affair. However, its existence doesn't rule out any future theatrical films in the franchise, which have lingered in development hell since 2018's Pacific Rim Uprising, disappointing at the box office. There is no word yet on whether any of the film's characters or cast members will return, or if the ever-busy Del Toro will have any involvement with the series. Prime Video's Pacific Rim TV series is in development. No casting or release date have yet been announced.
That's true, but I am aware, I have heard, that it is going to be based around the Eldris Elba character, which he passed away in the first film, but his character is kind of like a younger version of him. So I don't know if he'll come back to play it. They'll probably just get a younger actor, but I'm excited for this. I mean, you can't get fighting giant monsters in mech suits and not be like, hey, this is entertaining.
I mean, I agree.
Charlie Day was one of my favorite parts of both the films. He played like a weird eccentric scientist.
Really?
Oh, yeah, he's super funny in that one.
Yeah, I never saw the Pacific Rim stuff, so that sounds great. Yeah, I gotta watch it.
Well, back in the day when we watched Power Rangers,
Yep.
It's like the idea of the Megazord fighting giant monsters at the end of every Power Rangers episode, but then turned into an adult sci-fi movie, because that's literally what it is. The mech suits need 2 people to drive because basically you can't handle it on your own. You have to link your brain with another person in order to operate the mech suit properly, and part of that is sharing each other's memories and paths and emotions and things like that.
Oh,
so
God.
there's a lot of bonding that comes in with a good partner. You can't not just anybody could jump in together to run this mech suit. So there's
Like
a lot
we're
of
just
fun.
in the suit and I'm just giving you a weird look. Like, bro.
Dude, let's not talk about it. All right. There's a reason why it's called a fetish. No.
I'm just saying, man. That's like, now wait a minute.
Oh shit. I don't know. Giant mech suits fighting monsters. I'm always in. And Amazon will put the money in for it. Let's be honest. Amazon is doing the Lord of the Rings of Power show, which is not cheap. They're doing Fallout, which won a bunch of Emmys and is not cheap. They do quality. They do quality stuff.
So that brings us to the end of headlines, and that unfortunately brings us to the end of the show, guys. We really hope you guys enjoyed it. We had a lot of fun doing this. We love doing this every week. Remember that new episodes are always out every Wednesday.
That's right. And so, guys, thank you again for watching. Like Ryan said, we wanted to mention that we are actually going to be at a convention. That's right. You can meet us. I know you've been waiting your whole lives to meet Joe and Ryan, the hosts of Earthling Entertainment, and to get yourself a nice little Earthling Entertainment sticker or bag or some other fun goodies. Well, you can do that. That dream can be fulfilled. I can't guarantee that you will find Bigfoot. I can't guarantee that you will discover an actual ghosts, but I can tell you that meeting us is a dream that can come true.
It can at the 3rd Annual Cryptids and Paranormal Conference, Saturday, June 7th, this year, 2025, at 9 a.m. until 4 p.m.
That's right. Eventbrite has the tickets. They're about $45 a piece. And that is in Farmingdale, New Jersey. Tell them where, Ryan.
It's going to be at what's called Our House Banquet Facility. It's at 420 Adelphia Road and in Farmingdale, New Jersey, 07727. And there's so many special guests here. I can't even really begin to start listing them all. We got names like, oh gosh, Dr. Jeff Meldrum, Ronnie LeBlanc. There's just so many. There's a dude called Dr. UFO. I want to meet that guy.
I want to meet Dr. UFO too. Weird New Jersey is going to be there. They're fun. They're travel guide. If we're excited, and you should be excited too, we're actually going to record little segments while we're at the convention. I'm not sure if we're going to make it its own bonus episode or if we'll save it and make like a grand our 100th episode, which is coming up. But we're definitely going to record while we're there too. So should be fun.
And we're going to get psychic readings. They do there are going to be psychic card readers.
Yeah.
Madame Metatron, Mary Beth Hanlon, and Rhonda Allen. So,
hey, have you ever had a psychic reading, like whether it be tarot cards or otherwise?
Done tarot. Other than that, I've never officially paid, but in that short time that you worked at that little psychic gift shop, that one lady, remember,
the one psychic liked you. Yeah,
she liked me, and she was always kind of saying stuff. But I hate to say it, but she said I was surrounded by money, and let me tell you, I am not.
Well, she said you were surrounded by money, Ryan. She never said you got to keep any of it.
Oh,
yeah. See, it's like that Wishmaster thing. Be careful what you wish for. The monkey paw situation, where you get what you want, but it's not what you thought.
That's
dun,
right.
Dun, dun.
That's right.
It was probably one of the funnest jobs I ever had. It no longer exists, but it was called the Alhambra Institute, and I was a clerk. Obviously, I rung stuff up when it came to crystals and incense and all the things they sold, all the knickknacks. But also, I would book the appointments for the psychics. So people would call in, and using this crazy old invention called paper and a pen,
That's right.
I'd write down the information and book them out. It was one of the funner jobs I've had. Yeah, I'd say that out of my entire career of these Joe jobs, that one was probably the one that touches closely upon what I do now more than anything else.
Yeah, that makes sense. No, it definitely tracks. I don't know why. Yeah, I have such a fond memory, of you working there. I don't even think you were there that long.
I was there for about a year. They closed while they let me go, and I took it really personally at the time. And turns out that a month later they closed their doors. So obviously there was business stuff going on I was unaware of.
Definitely. So, yeah, guys, the 3rd Annual Cryptids and Paranormal Conference. It's got a website. You can find them on Facebook, and we really hope that everybody can make it out. We'd love to meet you guys. Come up, say hi. We'll be friendly.
Absolutely. And if you'd like to contact us, you could always email us at Earthling Entertainment Podcast at gmail.com. You could also hit us up on Instagram. I actually respond quite frequently to messages on Instagram or our Facebook page.
And I am also on TikTok for us. I believe it is Earthling Entertainment. It's the shorting for the entertainment part. And yeah, we try to keep up on there. I try to respond, so you can message me there as well.
Please, everyone who listened to this episode, if you enjoyed the show, download this episode. Download all the episodes. In fact, just go through the list and get download. Downloading the episode is actually the best way to support the show.
On every app you can muster.
Yeah. Apps you didn't even think of. If there's a way to download them, you do it. You do it. And Ryan, I think you have a mission for everyone, don't you?
I do. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, you, listener, is to share this podcast, this episode, with a friend, with a coworker, with a loved one, with a fellow Earthling.
And from all of us here at Earthling Entertainment, see you next week.
See you then.